What's up, everybody? Welcome to Studio Day Halfway Day Quarantine, where today we're talking Cowboys defensive coordinator. Yesterday we talked about how they had interviewed a couple of people, including Falcons secondary coach Joe Witt Jr. and Panthers passing game coordinator Jason Simmons. So that was two names that the Cowboys had interviewed. Both of those guys have a lot of history with Mike McCarthy. Enter today, and we're hearing about a guy who does not have a lot of history with Mike McCarthy, and now I'm satisfied with the Cowboys defensive coordinator search, at least so far. Because the news that we get today is that Dan Quinn spent several hours interviewing on Saturday for the Cowboys defensive coordinator job, and that he's on a flight to Dallas to meet in person. So Dan Quinn, former head coach of the Falcons who got fired, that obviously is not a good thing for a coach getting fired. But what is a good thing is when you have a guy who had a really good track record as a coordinator who becomes a head coach and crashes and burns, and he goes back to what he's good at. So that's what we were hoping for here, is that now you're going to be looking at Dan Quinn as a possibility for the Cowboys, and I like it. I like it. My only rule for the Cowboys during this defensive coordinator search was totally cool if you want to interview guys that your head coach is familiar with, because that makes sense. You've coached with him, you know him. If you think he's a good coach, great. Familiarity's fine. No problem with it. As long as you're also looking outside the box at the best, most proven candidates available. Dan Quinn falls into that stratosphere. So it sounds like Dan Quinn is the leading candidate for the Cowboys defensive coordinator job, and I'm totally cool if he gets hired because Dan Quinn runs a 4-3. And if you want to know some of his track record, back when he was the DC, before he got the head coaching job with the Falcons in 2015, his last 2 years in Seattle, defensive coordinator, net yards per attempt as a defense, they were first in the league and third in the league in his 2 years. One of those 2 years, they led the league in interceptions. And rushing defense, you are looking at 7th and 2nd in yards per attempt. So I will always stand by the fact that defensive coordinators are going to go up and down based on who's on their team. The Cowboys do not have good defensive personnel. They got work to do in that regard. But the fact that they are bringing in and that Dan Quinn is sort of the favorite right now to be the Cowboys defensive coordinator, you get an A from me for that. So there's that. And look, it would be really cool if we also heard a bunch of names that we've never heard of. Like the Rams' new defensive coordinator, he just kind of pops up from position coach and he becomes a defensive coordinator, and a lot of these young guys are bringing really good stuff to the table. But I got no problems with Dan Quinn. If that becomes the Cowboys defensive coordinator, I'm cool with it. Now, to your mailbag. This is from Basil. He says, love the show, Jeff. Thank you. I am a native Dallas Texan, stuck in Ukraine with this COVID issue, on board with Captain Trade Down. We need a corner, a nickel corner, a safety, maybe an offensive tackle. Tyron's only going to give you 6 games. Like the Pro Football Network simulator, seems more realistic grade on players. Their grades do match closest to mine out of all the major ones. Pro Football Focus, the Draft Network, Pro Football Network. Those are all places you can go use mock draft simulators if you want to. Pro Football Network matches up with my grades the best so far. Tell me what you think. I always double dip at defensive tackle. McNeil and Shelvin, that's an NC State guy and an LSU guy. Or Shelvin and Nixon. Nixon's an Iowa guy. It may seem a little excessive, but if I was the GM, I'd be damned if we come in at 32 and rush defense again. Captain Trade Down. Love the show. Keep rocking. Gives us Texans who are across the world to watch and listen to 105.3 The Fan. Yeah, I'm down with the double dip. The Cowboys could double dip in a couple of different places this year when you get to the NFL draft. You could double dip at corner. You could double dip at defensive tackle. They could absolutely do those things. Let's just see what the board looks like when you get onto the clock, and we'll see what makes the most sense for this team. And they're going to add guys in free agency so they don't feel like they're totally forced to do anything. And by the way, anybody who has been commenting about cutting my hair, as of the last few days, I think you have a point. We got a lot going on back there. Lance, I'm sorry, Jeff. The 2 interviews you mentioned, no coordinator experience and their position ranking is poor. No, need someone with a proven record. Hey, Mike, your job's on the line. Forget familiarity and do draft strategy. Take the best available. Then, Lance, I would think you'd be happy with today's report that Dan Quinn sounds like he's the front runner. Dan Quinn's got D coordinator experience, and his track record as a D coordinator is very good. Tom, He says, please check out Greg Newsome's tape. Oh, I've seen him. Northwestern, I haven't seen his tape, but I watched him pick off Justin Fields in the Big Ten Championship one-handed. It was nice. I see he's ranked around our third-round pick on Pro Football Network. Thanks, Cap. You're welcome. Yeah, I'm working my way through. I've watched some linebackers yesterday. I'm going to try to get in a couple more, the Ohio State linebackers, as soon as I'm done recording this. And then I'm going to try to get in a couple more corners. It is still January. We got time. James was apparently watching when I did the national championship breakdown with Thor Nystrom from Roto World yesterday. If you want a preview of that game, you can just check that video at youtube.com/Jeff Kavanaugh. Thor is a beast. But he won College Football Writer of the Year, and I've never won an award. And so I asked him, how do you win awards? And James says, I award you the best Cowboys draft YouTuber and the official Captain Trade Down Award. Congrats. Thanks. The Faceless Man. I want Dan Quinn for DC. I'll be honest, though, I'm only saying that because I know who he is, and I know he can run a defense. Sure, he wasn't great as a head coach, but who gives a bleep? Lots of guys are simply great coordinators, not head coaches. Wade Phillips, perfect example. Whoever we get, I hope he runs a base 4-3, but really focus on building the defense around the nickel package. We do need one big fat butt who can stuff the run, though. Have you found me one yet, Jeffrey? Sure, I'm working on that. I've found a couple. Jordan Davis at Georgia is going back to school this year, so Jordan Davis won't be our guy. But Tyler Shelvin at LSU is like 345 pounds. He's a monster. He offers no pass rush. But if you just want a big boy in the middle that is not going to get moved, is going to play the run, you like Tyler Shelvin. And the guy I like a little bit more than him is Alim McNeil. If that's how you say his first name, it's Alim. He's at NC State. He's 320 pounds. He plays a true nose on like a three-man line at NC State. But, boy, he is nice at the bop, bop, bop. And he's a little more athletic than Tyler Shelvin in terms of moving up and down the line and trying to get through gaps and make plays in the run game. So those are my two guys. You keep those guys. In a dream world, you would get somebody like McNeil in the third. But in this year's defensive tackle class, you might have to pop that in the second round. And then in a dream world, Tyler Shelvin is the sort of guy that you would take in the fourth. But in this year's defensive tackle group, you might have to pop him in the third. And again, this is why Captain Trade Down exists, so that you have an extra pick. Instead of picking at 10th, pick at 15th to 20th. Pick up a second-round pick, maybe swap positions in another round, get you an extra pick. That way, in one draft, you could find, let's say in the first round, you could find your corner. And then with multiple second rounders, you could find a safety and a D tackle. And then in the third round, you could take an offensive lineman or a double dip at corner or whatever. But just having that one more would be really nice. So I'm still, Cap Trade Down, still trying to ride. I just need the Cowboys to play ball with me. That's where we're at with that. UK Flynn. I get the feeling Jeff regularly burns his food trying to sneak in a mock draft. Yesterday, that actually did happen one time because I was reheating pizza and I used the broiler in the oven. And I forgot about it because I was doing a video or something. And by the time I got back to it, the top of it was, it was toasty. Still edible, but it was toasty. I don't burn food, I'll have you know. Saturday on the egg, nailed the wings. Got it stuck on automatic. I can't miss with wings, and I can't miss with ribs. Did the St. Louis style, got them up to 203, 204. The second set of ribs weren't as good because I had to clear the grill to put more food on. And so I let it rip, and I took the temp up to like 330, 340 because I was just trying to get them done so I could get them off the grill because I already had one good rack, and I already had my good chicken wings. So who gives a crap? You know what I'm saying? By the way, the wing recipe, and if I seem like I have too much energy right now, it's because of this. That's my nicotine patch. We're going for it. I already got a workout in today. My energy level is so much better if I'm not dipping. And boy, do I dip. Probably more than anybody in the history of planet Earth, like at all times, all day. So now I'm going to try. It's good for my energy level. It's good for work. It's good for everything, if we're being honest. I'm trying to quit it. So if there's anybody who wants to be my accountability buddy and try to give something up today, you let me know in the comments. We'll be best friends. We'll try to get this done. Try to get our exercises in. Look, I've withered away to nothing. I'm a little tiny. I'm 6'3" and 200 pounds. I'm a little tiny thing. Get these muscles back. What was that comment? Oh, yeah, I get the feeling Jeff Burns' food trend. I do like to sneak in a mock draft. Look, mock drafts are good for business. People click on mock drafts, and they're fun. Why wouldn't you do? I could do one right now, but I haven't. No, I don't have it set up. I'll do one tonight. I'll do whatever. Make sure that you're locked in from 2 to 7 today on 105.3 The Fan. By the way, shout out to Baker. Shout out to Lamar getting the job done. Shout out to the Natty tonight. Maybe I'll stream during the national championship and we can talk about some of the prospects in that game. If you're looking for future Cowboys, just a quick recap. I'll do this off the top of my head. In the national championship tonight, I don't think the Cowboys will take a wide receiver in the first round, but Devontae Smith is a monster at Alabama. Jalen Waddle, if he plays, is a monster at Alabama. They're both deserving of being top 10 picks. Alex Leatherwood at left tackle for Alabama is potentially a first-round player. Their center is a really good player too, but he is out for the national title game, which is why I think Ohio State's going to cover. Ohio State was able to terrorize Trevor Lawrence with their front three, and I think they're going to be able to do the same to Alabama because Alabama is short a center. They're not going to have a fifth-year senior that's not very good, and Ohio State's got 3 serious dudes up front. So they may win the line of scrimmage, and they may be able to beat Alabama tonight. Maybe. Alabama's still super awesome. Okay, Alabama, the receivers. Najee Harris is a stud. He'll go in the top 50, I bet. They're running back, but you don't need him unless you're willing to move on from somebody. Let's see. So their offensive line, boop. Right guard's okay. Their left guard's not bad. Alabama's got a great offensive line. And their 2 receivers, running back, Mac Jones will probably be picked in the second round? Maybe first. Might go in the first round. Because he's a quarterback. And let me see. Then you go, let's go Ohio State's defense. Haskell, the defensive tackle. Is it Togai? They got 3 guys on the defensive line at Ohio State that are serious. They got Werner and Browning at linebacker that are both guys that will probably be picked between the second and fourth rounds. Corners. Sean Wade, his stock has dropped this year because he's been bad since he's been playing the outside instead of the slot. That's an Ohio State corner. And then Alabama, obviously Patrick Surtain, watching him against Chris Olave from Ohio State will be a really fun matchup. Surtain projected top 10, top 15 pick. Olave is not projected there, but Olave is a really good wide receiver. And so let's see if Surtain can shut that down. Josh Jobe, Alabama's other corner, will probably be a second or third round pick. Dylan Moses, Alabama linebacker, will probably be a second or third round pick. His tape hasn't been very good, but he's a super athletic linebacker, and people like that. Christian Barmore on Alabama's defensive line. D-tackle may be the first defensive tackle off the board, so keep an eye on him. And there you go. Just a quick list of the guys in tonight's game to keep an eye on. Leave in the comments what you want to talk about tomorrow. That is where I get a lot of the content from, and I really appreciate it. You guys are monsters. Make sure you're checking 1053thefan.com every day. Corporate likes that. Make sure that you're subscribed to youtube.com/Jeff Kavanaugh and that you're mashing the like button on the videos because that's good for this corporation. And I love you guys. Remember that you have no idea what other people are dealing with, so be cool to everybody. I love you. Bye.